Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Cuz You Don't Know Football. That's right, guys. We back week 3 of the Fatal Flaws series. Guys, I don't think you guys know what's going on here. Nobody's giving you every team's fatal flaw. Nobody's giving you that. And that's what we're giving you today. So today we're going to focus on two different divisions. We've been going through this. It's been pretty smooth. So this time we're actually going to bring back one of your special guests. We're just gonna get him back in there. You guys can tell already who it is. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Can you hear me?
Yep.
JV, what's going on, baby?
What's going on? What's going on?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got one of your favorite regulars and one of my favorite regulars. Damn it, JV, welcome back to the
What's
show.
good, man? What's up with you, bro?
What's good, baby? So
Can't call.
First of all, we want to welcome you to this Fatal Flaw series. First of all, I just want to put this out there. Ain't nobody giving you every team's fatal flaw. Every single team's fatal flaw. I haven't heard that on any other podcast.
Nah. This definitely putting a new twist on things. I like it.
Listen, and this episode is actually going to be dope because we're talking about your division. We're going to bring up your division, and I'm really curious to see what's going on in that division. All right.
Yeah. I
But
noticed that you did that. I definitely noticed that you did that on purpose.
you see what I'm saying? I try to get creative. I try to
You've been
bring.
doing that, and you did that a couple times too. Because I seen you did that in another one too. But it definitely makes it more juicy. So I like it. I like it a lot.
I appreciate it. All right. So this is what we're gonna do. We ain't gonna talk about your division first. We're gonna talk about the other division. We're gonna save that one because we getting into that one. There's some stuff I got to get off my chest about your division. So
Okay.
let's get to this NFC North. All
Mm-hmm.
right. So once again, we're just gonna explain what happened. So every team, I don't care who it is, they have a weakness. There's something that can be exploited, and they all have a reason why they won't win the Super Bowl. And
Okay.
basically, we just want to hear what you feel like are the reasons why they won't win the Super Bowl. Even if they are going to win the Super Bowl, because one of these teams are, we're still
Yeah.
doing all of them. So we'll do that, and then we'll just get into who you feel like. We'll just run down the division. We'll use that to run down the division and say who you think is the division winners and things of that nature.
Yeah.
All right. So let's start with this one. Let's start with the Green Bay Packers. There's a lot that went on over there this off season. So
Yeah.
talk to me. Talk to me about Green Bay.
So I mean, and we only given one reason, one
You,
flaw.
you get multiple. We saying at least one.
Okay, well, yeah. Well, I mean, it's the obvious to me when you talk about the Green Bay Packers, man. And they lost their franchise quarterback, and now you have to play the rebuild game with a young roster, which was kind of his knock and his problem with the situation. He was kind of feeling like, he ain't had no vets in there. He had too many young guys that weren't really ready for the spotlight yet. And, he got out of there. So now he's going too. You took a couple of receivers with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now you really kind of start you playing the rebuilding game. And
Right.
I definitely hope Jordan Love, that's his name, right?
Jordan Love, yes.
Yeah, I definitely hope that he does good, but I think that's going to be their main flaw of why not going not going to win the Super Bowl, because Jordan Love ain't about to come in there starting year one and take them to the Super Bowl and win it all. Let's just be honest, like that's not going to happen with the young receiving core that you only bring Christian Watson back,
Mm-hmm.
or Chris Watson, whatever, what I mean, you
Christian
bringing him back.
Watson yeah, you said it right.
So that's really it. And you got some other, you got the run game and all that still, but no, that's not gonna cut it. When y'all had Aaron Rodgers, you definitely ain't about to do it without him. So that's kind of really just the gist of it with them. But they got a lot of stuff that they have to work on over there. So we just gonna say in totality, they are in the rebuilding mode right now.
Okay. So yeah. So I have a pretty hot take on this one.
Okay.
I think Green Bay's about to slip into that category of teams that are going to be repetitively bad every year now. Um, Green Bay is one of them organizations that always gets quarterback right. When they get quarterback right, you know what I mean? Everything falls into place. That's what any
Yeah.
team. But let's be honest, especially now today, no one wants to go to Green Bay. They've always had problems like getting free agents to go there and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't think they have the quarterback right. So I got to see how long it is to.
But can you really say they've? I mean, they have been right with quarterback, but let's be honest. In the past 20-some years, they've
You
only
ain't
had quarterbacks.
three straight. You three straight, bro. You ain't getting three straight quarterbacks right. You're not. You're not. I'm sorry.
But they've had the same two quarterbacks for like 20-something years. That's like unheard of.
It would. I think it's more unheard of to say I'm gonna get three quarterbacks right. Draft
No, yeah, you're not.
straight.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying they're getting three right. I'm just saying I couldn't even fully say they got the quarterbacking situation right all the time because we've only seen the two in the past 25 years.
That's
they got lucky. I feel like that's luck.
I mean,
right
that's a quarter century of quarterback play.
But it's literally two guys
of extravagant quarterback play.
And it's two guys though. That's my whole thing. Like it ain't like they had 5 quarterbacks in 30 years and they all were right. You literally got the two guys who were Brett Favre wanted to play until he was 80 years old. And then right behind him came Aaron Rodgers, who had the biggest chip on his shoulder and went and showed the world who he was. So I just feel like I can't completely say they always get the quarterback thing right because they were just blessed with the two quarterbacks for a very long time working. Now we got to see if you can really get the quarterbacks right.
And I don't think they did.
And I want him to be so successful, but I don't see that happening.
Right. So I will because I felt like that was where we were going to go. I'll pick another fatal flaw. My fatal flaw for them is the fact that the best players on their teams is probably those halfbacks. They do have that corner. I can't think of his name right now, but he's one of the
Jair Alexander.
They do have Alexander, but like running back, especially like with all this debate about running backs going on and stuff like that. Like I am a person that does feel as though you don't want to pay the most into your running back position because having two. I think you need two running backs anyway. So to say I'm gonna pay 10 million into one and then I have another one and it's like, well, that's a lot of your cap into a situation where you're looking for your passer to be, you know what I mean, to do the majority of the work. So I don't like that the best players on their team is actually the running backs, and I do think that'll be compensated for.
Yeah, that's true. They just don't. It's a lot of things with that team that is just like it's so many ways you could go with what their problem is, why they won't win the Super Bowl, because it's deeper than that. It's what's their problem, why they won't make it to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, like honestly, I could have said a lot of things, but I had to pick one, so I just said, all right, just go with it. All right, cool. All right, cool. Let's talk about these Chicago Bears then. A very interesting team this year. That's an interesting team this year. Well, go ahead.
It's crazy because they actually added some good pieces in the offseason offensively. I think Justin Fields is going to take that step up to being ready to be the guy, but I don't think the step up equates to wins and playoffs and Super Bowl talk. I just think he'll because he has actually been getting a lot of criticism that he's not the guy. And I can honestly say that in the very beginning, I didn't think he was the guy either. But I think as he's progressing through these seasons, as he's getting more comfortable with the offense, as he's getting more weapons to help him, because he didn't really have a true number one. You know, he made Mooney a number one looking guy,
right.
Who I don't really think is a number one wide receiver. But now you're getting DJ Moore in, Claypool's still there. You still have Mooney. With the running game, they added some pieces. I think Herbert's going to do good in that backfield now that Montgomery's gone. I just think that not only do I think the defense is not ready, but I don't think Justin Fields is ready to take that much of a leap to taking it to the next level and winning the Super Bowl.
And you kind of took both of my points. That was basically what I was going to say. I don't like their pass rush. I think their defense. I think they put big money into their middle linebacker position, but they let Roquan Smith go and then end up paying big money to the guy from Buffalo. And I don't think he's as good as Roquan Smith. So if you're not going to pay the position,
yeah, letting Roquan Smith go was their first big mistake on trying to build on this franchise.
So yes, I don't think that. I think the defense is where they decided to pay people. I think they're gonna make it hard because they need pass rushers, and I don't think they have any. And they're going to need pass rushers. But yeah, I'm not the biggest Justin Fields guy. I'm still on. He went to Ohio State and he had more than he'll ever have, and the compensation for that is going to be. I think he's exciting. I think he'll make plays. I think they'll win games, but I don't think that step. I think year 3 he's going to have the same criticism if he's the guy. I don't think he's answering that this year.
And that's the word. That's the description I would use for them. I think they'll be a lot more exciting this year to watch.
Yes, I think they're exciting.
And exciting. You can still be exciting and win 5 games in a season.
Absolutely. So I've seen it.
I don't see them winning anymore. I don't see more than 7. So,
got you.
We're gonna see.
Got you. All right, cool. Debating. Who should I say that? Who should we go with next? You pick the team next, and we'll go there.
I think, because honestly, I think we should just save the best for last. So I think we should go with the Minnesota Vikings.
Hell, I thought about it, but I was like, that might be a little anticlimactic. But we here, Minnesota. Let's talk about it.
Minnesota Vikings. Reason for not winning the Super Bowl, getting to the Super Bowl, anything, is their one-dimensional style offense. I do believe that adding Addison is going to be a big help for Justin Jefferson. But y'all didn't pay Dalvin Cook. I like Madison a little bit, but I don't like him as the main go-to guy all year long to carry the load of running back. And then let's be honest, Kirk Cousins is Kirk Cousins. What is it? He only plays good. What is it? He only plays good in the 1 o'clock game.
About Captain Kirk.
Yeah, he gives you the spurt of greatness, and then turns right around and then takes a dump the next week. Is very, very weird with how he plays. But honestly, no, I can't even say the offense will not be their reasoning for it. Their defense had went from very good a couple years ago to just what happened? Where did the players go? What happened to the players you had? What are you guys doing on the defensive side of the ball? Because it just seems like everything is offense with them. And that wasn't always the case with Minnesota. And I think that's going to be their reason for why they lose. They're going to be losing some games and stuff this year. And, last year, the games they lost, the offense put up the numbers. The offense put up the points. Kurt actually was doing a very good job a lot of times, and the defense would just give it right back. So with their offense being the way it is, and then with their defense being so bad to me, that's their destruction right there.
So, yeah, so my fatal flaw for the Minnesota Vikings is that I just feel as though they regressed. So just like you said about that defense, you're like, what happened to that defense? No one, I mean, they put people there. I mean, you know what I mean? It's not like they didn't invest into the defense. They didn't try. It just got worse, Now I don't think this year it flips and gets better, especially because, last year a lot of things went their way. And usually when things especially in those 1-score games, usually if you're winning a bunch of them one year, the next year you usually end up losing a bunch of them. So, that defense being what it is, Dalvin Cook being gone, And as much as I do like Jordan Addison, I do like him. He's a rookie. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So you lose Adam Thielen, you lose that person that had been there, done that can communicate, you know what I mean, that you can trust. And now we got to wait and see what Addison does. He's going to be better. I'm sure of it. But in terms of this year, I just think they regressed, you know?
And Minnesota has this thing where when you're kind of solidified at your wide receiver spot, you just get rid of one, hoping that you could just get another one in the draft. And
Yeah.
they've been lucky, but eventually that takes away from where you were trying to go, especially when you don't have a running back anymore.
Like Minnesota is doing right now with wide receivers, what the rest of the league is doing with running backs. Like it's kind of crazy to look at it like that, but like they're like saying, "All right, well, you want all this money, we kind of can just draft another guy," you know?
Yeah, and they've been lucky because see, you go and you draft Justin Jefferson after you got rid of Stephon Diggs, and everybody looked at you like you were kind of crazy, but it worked for you. And now you get rid of Thielen, which I mean, honestly, let's be real. Since Jefferson came on the scene, Thielen is still a good security blanket, but he's getting a little older. You know, it's not the same. Injuries started bothering him a little bit. So yes, you want to go and you want to get the next young guy. And I love Addison's route running. You know, he's a real good wide receiver. And yes, in the future he will be very good. And you know, as young as Jefferson is, that tandem will be good for a long time. But you got Kurt back there, and he's not always the most reliable. As much as they try to make him be, they try to give him all these personalities. They try to big him up in the media. And you know, he's not a terrible guy. He's not the worst quarterback in the league, but we all know who Kirk Cousins really is.
He has a ceiling, and sometimes he just doo-doos on the field for whatever reason. So both of the things are sometimes happen all at the same time.
Yeah, it can crash and burn very badly.
Yeah. So so I don't know about that. Plus, on top of everything, keep in mind as we talk through this that every year that there's on average 6 teams that make the playoffs that did not make it the year before, which means 6 teams that made the playoffs won't this year on average. It might be 5. Last year it was actually 7 from the year before. I counted. So I just look at Minnesota and I just say, yeah, I think that's a wrap.
I think they could sneak in. I just don't think they'll be like top of division win, but I think they could sneak in at the bottom still. I just don't see like you said, they've definitely regressed. So that's going to be a big problem. So, you know.
Well, I'm telling you so earlier in a couple episodes ago, I did my way too early playoff predictions. And I got the Giants and the Vikings coming right on out.
I definitely can see the Giants coming right on out there.
I think the Vikings.
I can see the Vikings too, but I give the Vikings a little more room to stay within because we kind of probably have the same idea who's going to win this division this year.
I mean, we're about to talk.
Which is why I said save the best for last.
But
yeah, but you know, the Giants, I definitely see them out of there.
You know what I mean? I mean, just keep in mind, Detroit didn't make the playoffs last year. The NFC South, we look at the NFC South, however you see that shaking up. The Saints, Panthers, or Falcons, none of them made the playoffs last year.
Yeah.
The Seahawks probably are going to be back in.
I don't know.
The Eagles and Cowboys probably are going to be back in.
I think the Seahawks are one of the out teams.
I think so.
Yeah.
But like,
it was crazy. As good as they played, and I was happy for Geno, I was not ever sold on them ever. Like every week they would win and they would do this stuff, and I'm just like, yo, they're like the Cinderella team this year because I don't see this. Like, why is this happening? I don't see it.
So what I see. Let's say, okay, the reason why I've scratched my head on that one. Let's say you're right, and Geno really still isn't the answer. I think they hit their blueprint of how they were good in the first place again. They got all these 4th, 5th, and 6th round picks that are like, whoa, what's going on? What's going on with this? You know what I mean? Like what's going on? So like all of these players are getting paid very little. And their team is like, it looks really good. So what I'm saying is even if you're right, Well, if I was to compare Geno Smith to Russell Wilson his first 2 years, I think that's very possible of what's going to happen or what can happen this year.
I don't think that defense is anywhere near Legion of Boom defense to say that.
Not yet, but
I don't see it at all. That was Legion of Boom defense?
I said not yet, okay? I said not yet.
They don't have 4 defensive backs that's going to play anywhere near that good. I'm sorry.
But their 2 corners are very good. Tariq Woolen, not to shout out other people named Tariq. I'm just saying that's what happened. He's amazing. He's one of the top 5 corners right now today.
What?
Absolutely.
You say he's a top 5 corner today?
Yes, absolutely.
Nah. Well, being that this is not the conversation we're having for this episode, we're not even going to go there. There's no way you're about to say Tariq Woolen is top 5 corners in the league right now. Are you kidding me? When 2 young guys just shot their way into the top 5, you're not going to bring him in too? Are you kidding me?
Which means somebody got to come on out.
3 people ain't coming off, and them 2 ain't going nowhere. There's no way you're putting there. No, you're crazy. Listen,
we can have this little segue, and we can and you can talk about exactly what you need to say. Like you can say top 5 corners real quick.
I can name way more than 5 better than him.
Go ahead.
Pat Surtain, Sauce Gardner, Xavier Howard.
Hold on.
Yes, he is. Don't do that. Yes. Jalen Ramsey.
But Jalen Ramsey's not even playing for the most of this part of this year.
He's hurt right now, but Jalen Ramsey is better than him. Stop it. We could go Jair Alexander, yes. I named 5. That's 5.
I gave you 5. I told you to slow down on Xavier Howard a little bit.
You're tripping. What? Are you kidding me?
Listen, you might listen. That's where it is. That was exactly where I was like, all right, it might be one of those.
Wow, yo, what? All right, man, look, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to go turn on this Tariq Woolen tape and see what you see, because you are bugging.
I think you need to watch.
You're bugging. You're bugging. Top 5? Are you kidding me?
I'm not kidding you.
You ain't over there acting like you not kidding me. He's not better than Darius Slay.
All right, I'll give you Darius Slay. Okay, he's not a top 5, but I also think Darius Slay is better than Xavier Howard too.
Oh yeah, I would. Yeah, I would say that. I'm not going to say definitely. So let me not say definitely, but yes. Darius Slay is better than Xavier Howard. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, dang, I'm
giving Darius Slay that because I saw what he did to Jennings, and I have yet to see anybody else duplicate that performance against that man.
Listen, I've always been a Darius Slay fan. I've always been a Slay fan. Now, I did see he was getting a little older, and I wasn't expecting that. But what I tell people all the time is that was the formula of success. You got your one good wide receiver. I'm going to put my good corner over there, and I'm just going to play man that game. And you have to try to get him the ball. You're going to force him the ball with that pass rush coming at you. Mm-hmm. And Kirk Cousins did what Kirk Cousins did. He didn't want to throw to anybody else. He wanted to keep trying to throw it, and he got strapped up. Like, young boy got strapped up. Like, what can you say?
You know what the most impressive thing about that soliloquy was? The fact that we got back into the NFC North by the end of it. Let's keep going on NFC North.
Right.
Okay. No secrets here. Let's talk about these Detroit Lions. Hold on. Can I say this? Because for our younger viewers, they don't know what it feels like to be excited about Detroit. They have no idea that time ever even existed. Because it's been since what we're going to say, 96 or 98, since the last time we looked at them and said, oh, yeah, they can like win the division and something like that. Didn't
they win the division? No, they didn't. They got to the playoffs, though, but they didn't win the division.
They lost to Dallas. Yes, they did.
Okay. But yeah, listen.
Let me finish my soliloquy. The Detroit Lions ruined 2 Hall of Fame careers in terms of Barry Sanders and Megatron, in terms of not giving them the team that they could just shine in postseason play and everything like that, even though they did what they did in the regular season. But they made my man Barry Sanders retire early. So they don't know what this looks like. So the fact that we're excited about Detroit.
They made both of them retire early. Both of them are arguably top 5 at their position, and we never got to see them on a successful team run. That is crazy.
Never.
And that, yeah, like honestly, this is the story I'm so happy to see. Like, I'm not a Detroit Lions fan, but I'm a Detroit Lions fan.
I understand what you're saying. I understand.
Like, I love these guys. I love their coaching staff. I loved watching them on Hard Knocks last year. I said it in an earlier episode how much I've been on these guys. I'm kind of mad that DeAndre Swift left, but he's going home, so hopefully he's a little bit better. I like the running back they drafted. I love their wide receiver core. They said Jameson, the boy from Alabama, the wide receiver. They said he's coming off injury looking amazing. And with Amon-Ra St. Brown, who's one of my favorite wide receivers in the league, I've been following that kid forever. Like, this is the team who I think is going to win the division. This is the team who I think can make a good little playoff run, depending on how some of these young guys develop into this year. But to say they're flaw, I mean, I like the guy, but I'm not a Jared Goff believer like that. I think they go as far as he takes them. Everything else is kind of in the play, besides their defensive youth, which is like lack of experience. But the Detroit Lions will go as far as Jared Goff takes them. If they do bad, it will be his fault. If they do amazing, it will be his fault. And I'm not even the kind of guy that puts it on one player, because I know football is the ultimate team sport. Absolutely. But there is literally only one way that this ship sinks, and that's on Jared Goff's shoulders, or his arms, should we say.
Right. You know what I love about their roster? Well, first of all, before I even say that, so when I look at their draft, I think they could have problems in the future because I don't love what they prioritized in the draft. But they ain't paying nobody. These are all rookies right now. With that said, what I love about their roster, when you look at them, they're not bad anywhere. And when I look at a team and say, you're not, like, you don't have a hole, like, you're not like, oh, you're awful here. You know what I mean? Like that usually bodes better, you know what I mean, than teams that are like, oh yeah, I have all, like, this piece excites me and this piece excites me, this piece excites me. But yeah, the fact that they don't really have any, like, they don't have any big holes on their roster. And I do like what's the defensive end's name?
Hutchinson. Oh yeah, Hutchinson.
Aiden. Listen, that's a bad motherfucker.
I talked him filthy coming into the league. I said, first of all, in college, when I seen he was up for the Heisman, I said, how?
Right. Aiden Hutchinson.
I thought it was one of those things where, you know how they do sometimes. They want to push a guy a little bit, they're guys. So I thought it was one of those things. Now. And then I saw him in camp. And I said, wait a minute. First of all, he looks like a Spartan. He looks like an action figure. And then I saw his motor and his technique, and I said, wait, he is actually the real deal. And his first year, like his rookie year, he played very well. And that's how you anchor your defense, with an amazing pass rusher who not only is a good pass rusher, he can stop the run.
Keep going.
Stop the run. That, like, he is, as long as he stays healthy, he will be one of the top edge rushers in the league for, a long time. And I think with that, you also got, they've fixed around their defensive backfield a little bit. Their linebacking core is pretty good. They're fast. They get to the football, and they play with a lot of passion. Their defense is just going to get older, more experienced, and just make more and more plays.
I even like that they brought in C.J. Gardner-Johnson from Philly. I think that's a very underrated move because he set the culture for that Eagles defense last year.
Yeah.
He was like, all right, the one that was keeping all this together. So with all this young talent, you have ahead of the snake.
Got a brain.
That's what I'm saying. You see where I'm going with this? And they got 2 wide receivers. If Jameson Williams comes back like they said, you're gonna have 2 wide receivers with a team that their majority was running the ball. Actually, last year, if you really looked at it,
ran the ball a lot.
Running team. They were a running team, putting up 38 every week, 35, 38, 40. Like, they were doing that consistently. So I'm sure you can hear it, but like, I'm very excited about Detroit. But
I really cannot wait to see what they do with all this talent around them.
Yes.
And that's why it's only one person. You can only blame one. And they even drafted like another tight end because they got rid of Hawkinson. They did so much to just keep the ball rolling. And it's like, they're really ready. I love that coach. I love the whole staff. They, you know what I mean? They got Deuce on the staff. They got Aaron Glenn on the staff. They got they got guys like I love what they're doing over there. I can't wait to watch them play.
Right. So I do have to give them a fatal flaw, unfortunately, after everything I just did.
Of course. Yeah, of course.
My fatal flaw for them is the culture. Is exactly what we started with. Detroit has been awful, mismanaged. Like, something always went wrong. Something was always the problem. And I think they got to shed that mentally, because even though they had all that success last year, keep in mind they did not make the playoffs. So they caught on later and they went on a run, and it was like, okay, but they have to be efficient. They got to be consistent. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So now, to gain that kind of respect, to shed that, you know what I'm saying? Like, these Detroit Lions you never saw. You know what I mean? And I think that I don't know if that comes in and when that comes in, but like, that could be Jared Goff. Jared Goff, like I said, Jared Goff could, because like last year was the best year he ever had, in my opinion. That was
I don't see Jared Goff in that light. Like, I don't see him as an elite quarterback. I just see him as even though he throws more than what they would call a game manager, I see him as a game managing quarterback. But the game has to be managed properly by him for them to be successful. So if you're going to have a 40-50 pass attempt game, he has to like minimize his mistakes. If you're only going to throw the ball 25 times in a game with him, he has to be very, very good with the decisions he does make.
And he's got to be able to be consistent in both of them kind of scenarios.
That's what it is.
He's got to be able to be consistent.
His consistency is the key to everything that's going to go around there. Because if not, he gone.
Yeah.
Because they got to get somebody there ASAP while this ball is rolling. Because they don't want.
They already drafted. They drafted the guy.
They got
can't think guy from Tennessee.
Yeah. We talked about him before in the quarterback thing. Yeah, but I don't think he's ready right now. So that's why I feel like Goff, like you're on a short leash, whether you believe it or not.
I'm not going to do my man dirty like that, so I'm going to look up his name right now.
Yeah. I wanted to say Justin Hooker, but I just feel like that's not it.
Hendon Hooker.
Hendon Hooker. Okay, there you go.
Hendon Hooker. And I like him, man. I think he's going to be legit. But
I think once he gets, you know, the injury issues and stuff cleared away, I think he definitely can be the guy to come in there and keep that, especially with his ability to move around and extend plays.
And he don't have any pressure. Just sit there and get better.
Just go play.
Better. How do I read a defense? What's my footwork supposed to be at? I'm just working on this footwork. That's all you got to do this year.
And let's be real. Like, we talked about the rookie they drafted at running back, but they also picked up David Montgomery.
They did. That's what I'm saying. That's what I mean about these running backs. You can move off of a running back, man, and just bring another, because they have him and they drafted another one. So the guy Gibbs from Alabama. So it's like they're still going to have two running backs.
That's my problem with the league, with the way they treat running backs. Y'all run these guys in the ground, and now, granted, maybe their ceiling is too high with what they think they should be getting paid, but the price tag shouldn't be that far from what they're asking for. And y'all going to bring these guys in, and y'all going to want to underpay them, and then y'all want to do things like not trade them when they don't want to be there. And if y'all do trade them, y'all want everything for them, but y'all don't want to pay them.
Can I say, as a Denver Broncos fan, I think what you just said was completely unfair. Because
why?
Because you guys had so many running backs that people don't even remember rush for 1,000-yard seasons. That was more of the culture of Denver after.
But that was our system. But also with that though, we were most successful when we had a great running back. Like, we won 2 Super Bowls with Terrell Davis, who rushed for like 1,700 and then like 2,000 yards and then like 1,500 and 1,300. Like, then we had Clinton Portis. Clinton Portis was rushing for 1,600. You know what I mean? The other guys, Orlando's Gary and you know, Mike Anderson did a little bit better, but they rushed for 1,100, 1,200. Like, it's not the same when you're rushing for 1,800 yards.
But that's what I'm saying. So even when y'all won the Super Bowl with Russ and all of that, what was it, CJ Anderson?
CJ Anderson. CJ Anderson was a lot better than he got credit for.
But what I'm saying is, you think they still remember CJ Anderson today? I don't.
Yes. Broncos do. I don't know what everybody else.
I don't know. I'm not.
I don't know what everybody.
But my point. See, you doing that. My point was, as a Broncos fan, what you said was unfair because y'all had millions of running backs just come in and go and anything. That's kind of.
But see, this is the difference though. Yes, CJ Anderson was great for us, and we love him, but we didn't pay him when it was time to pay him. And to me, that's okay. To me, that's okay. But I feel like these guys, like especially the guys that are asking for money now that are getting thrown around is crazy. But it's guys like your David Montgomerys. Granted, you know, some of these running backs have what you call injury problems. But y'all are putting them in these systems where y'all are utilizing them 60, 65% of your offense. Pay that man. Give him some insurance.
I think they could.
Y'all are the prime example of wilding out with what y'all are doing.
Hold on. First of all, no, there's two running backs that ruin this for everybody. That is Todd Gurley and Ezekiel Elliott. Okay, so what I'm saying, hold on, slow down.
But Zeke had a great year last year.
What I'm saying is, I agree. Maybe in their rookie contracts, they need to be paid more as a rookie, as a running back. Like that position as a rookie needs to be paid more. But if you think like a GM and understand, I need 2 to 3 running backs regardless. Why not just get another running back that's going to be way cheaper and then retain 2 of them that I know can come in and still play?
Nah, y'all let what's the quarterback's name?
We built the whole thing on getting rid of running backs.
Y'all let Andrew Luck keep all that bread when he retired fast. Y'all didn't care about the salary cap then. Y'all didn't care about cap penalties and stuff then.
I'm gonna be honest.
Y'all didn't care about none of that. Now you're telling me that the running back who just ran y'all into the playoffs and all that.
Listen to me. I don't know why they did that. I don't know.
But what I'm saying is the same organization is going to try to argue with the man who just rushed y'all into the playoffs 2 years ago.
Well, have you seen
deserve some kind of bread? You can't run a running back on a rookie contract. Run them to death on a rookie contract and then say, I'm not going to pay you because you're not worth it. Like, there should be some compensation on what you did for the organization in that small rookie contract.
You're making way too many good points. The point that I'm making is, have you seen Jonathan Taylor this offseason? He is not healthy. What I'm saying is, now you want money when
but you know why he's not healthy?
Because we ran him.
Y'all gave him 40 touches a game when he was healthy. What do you mean? And he's not the scat back, fast running back. He is a north-south runner that y'all gave the ball 40 times a game, led the league in rushing, went crazy, and now he's hurt, and y'all like, oh, nah, you ain't worth it. Same thing with Dalvin Cook. Like, yo, the Bull put up like 1,600 yards, and they're like, nah, you're not worth it. Saquon Barkley just took like 10 mil instead of 14, and y'all ran him in the ground for 2 years. Like, what is going on? Like, there should be something in there where if you are utilizing me a certain amount, I need to get paid on that next contract, regardless of what you think I'm still worth.
All right, we're gonna get to this. We're gonna get to your division.
That's just out of the. I just feel like David I was saying all that. To bring it back around. We got to bring it back around. Okay, yeah. I was just saying all of that to say, like, David Montgomery is a very good running back. So for him to be in that system now with that chip on the shoulder because Chicago didn't want to pay him because of some injury problems, I feel like it's a new breath of fresh air. So he can really be a major piece to what they're doing in Detroit.
All right, cool. We're gonna talk about this. We're gonna get to your division right now. Hold on, give me 2 seconds. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I know the fans at home didn't see it, but I just want y'all to know that conversation didn't end there. And and behind the scenes, I made my point. And I want to say, I had to look up Carson Wentz's name. You know why? Because I forgot his name on purpose. He
That's
ruined a
crazy.
lot. He ruined a lot for us.
Definitely did. He definitely did y'all real dirty.
So I don't even like talking about it.
That's funny though.
All right. So now we moving on to why we here. We know why we here.
Now you can get your get back. Now you can come get your get back.
You know why you here, okay? So we're gonna talk about this AFC West. This AFC West. You see what I'm saying?
So let's get all these other bums out of here so we can get into the real.
Okay, yeah.
The real two teams. It's 2 teams we really want to talk about.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's 3 now.
No, it's not. It's 2. It's 2.
It's 3. I'm
so,
tired.
All right. So I'm assuming that the 3rd team is the Chargers.
Yes.
So we're just gonna get the Raiders out of here.
That's
all right.
a fact.
So cool. I'm cool with that.
Quick.
This is about to be very quick. The Raiders' reasoning for everything going bad is now Mike Davis. And for the people who don't know who Mike Davis is, that is the son of Al Davis.
Yes.
And but I think he's like the majority share of the Davis family of the Oakland Raiders. Well, the Las Vegas Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
The Davis family is just the reason why the Raiders organization is terrible and is always going to be terrible until they sell that team. Mm-hmm. Let's be honest. They've done everything wrong. Mm-hmm. Again, we have another situation where they didn't want to pay their running back. They got rid of the quarterback that their star wide receiver wanted there and wanted him there. Their defense has not, they got the whole Max Crosby thing going on and all that, but their defense is horrible still, let's be honest. And they have nothing really going for themselves. They got rid of Darren Waller now too. They're bottom of the barrel trash, and it's crazy because I felt this way last year, and it seems that the only team that they could beat up on all season was us. So that was the problem for me. But yeah, they're not going to sniff the playoffs because their organization is just terrible, and the Davis family needs to sell that team.
Okay. All right. Well, now this one's gonna hit close to home. You ready for this one? I'm actually pretty proud about this one because I looked at it and I said, "What is this?" Josh McDaniels is their head coach still. That is the fatal flaw. You see, I haven't forgotten what he did with the Colts too. Okay, how he accepted the job and then he backed on out afterwards, and we had to just figure it out on the fly. But then he went into Denver in the first stint
and did us dirty.
Hold on, did you see the interview where DJ was your middle linebacker DJ I want to say Moore. It's not DJ Moore.
DJ Williams.
DJ Williams said the first 8 weeks we couldn't be touched. Then we went 1-6 and we couldn't figure it out. He said I figured it out. We was cheating. We was cheating. He did Spygate again, and that's the only time he's been good as a head coach. And he is the Raiders head coach, and that is the problem that needs to be
Guess what? He's also the guy who fell in love with Tim Tebow.
Yes, he did.
He's also the guy who he did so much wrong with us. Like, he really completely tore our team apart. That I would never forgive him for that. I can't stand him.
He is awful.
And guess what? And the Davis family said, "Come be the head coach here." It just goes to show you.
So you said the Davis. I said Josh McDaniels.
Yep.
So that's what that is. Did I mess up here? Okay, no, I did not mess up. Good.
So now we can talk about these California Dream Boys, right?
All right, we can talk about them. Let's talk about them.
So, don't get me wrong. I don't think the Chargers are that bad. But the Chargers have been doing the same thing every year for the past 10 to 12 years. Mm-hmm. They look good in the beginning of the season. They look amazing on paper. They got the quarterback that's supposed to get it done, and then he just doesn't get it done. They have praised Justin Herbert so much in these first couple of years, and he has done absolutely nothing. They just pay that man all that bread, and he has done absolutely nothing. Yeah, he throws for a lot of yards. Yeah, he throws a good amount of touchdowns. But when we talk about all these other elite quarterbacks, they keep saying he's an elite quarterback. We talk about all these other elite quarterbacks, and if they are or aren't elite. We talk about Lamar Jackson, he doesn't deserve his money, this is that and the third. And then y'all go pay this guy who has all this talent around him, whether guys are getting hurt or not, and he hasn't done anything for him. On top of that, y'all act like y'all don't want to pay Austin Eckler. Again, another situation where a top
They're not
running
going to
back
pay him. They're not going to pay him.
They're not going to pay him. So, and their defense is pretty good. Their defense, I love. I'm a Derwin James guy. You know, I'm a Florida State fan. I'm a Florida State fan, so Derwin James is like my guy. I really hate that he's with the Chargers because the Chargers is the division team that I hate. Like, it's not the Raiders, it's not Kansas City. It's becoming Kansas City because they're so good, but the Chargers has always been the division rival that I could not stand. So to have Derwin James go there, to have Asante Samuels Jr. go there, it bothers me being a Florida State fan. But they got a good team. I think
pass rushers, and they had 2 pass rushers.
Yes, but I'm not. Well, honestly, Joey Bosa isn't his brother to me.
He's still okay. So let's say he's the number 2 pass rusher on that team. That's a great number 2.
I mean, yeah, but he's supposed to actually be the number 1 pass rusher on that team.
But like Khalil Mack can definitely be that. You know what I'm saying? That's the other part of this. Khalil Mack is there. So let's say
Khalil Mack is still amazing. It's still funny that it's still how amazing he still is, you know, with his age. But nah, like they're still great. They're a great tandem, but that time is almost up there.
Okay.
But what I will say is their flaw to why they won't win is their overrated quarterback.
You went there.
He's the flaw. He's the reason they're not going to get to the promised land. He's not ready yet, and they put all this hype on him. It's not his time yet. He's not ready yet. He's going to do what he does every year. When it gets late in the season, he's going to drop the ball. He's going to start making bad decisions. He's going to do what he does, and he's been doing that.
Okay, so I'm going to say their fatal flaw, and I'll explain it more. Their fatal flaw is exactly what you said. See, you said it was 10 years of them being like that. No, it's been closer to like 20 when they've been.
I didn't.
You know what I mean? So what I'm saying is, I'm gonna give you the same answer that I gave to Detroit. The culture, they have to shape that culture. That they're not even giving credence for having that kind of culture where they underachieve all the time. You know, as soon as you expect them to be great, first, as soon as you look at them and say, "Oh, this is the time they're going to be great," that's when it all falls to shit. So
but they've done it for the same exact reasons these past 20 years.
Right.
First it was Phillip Rivers. Now it's Justin Herbert. You overhype your quarterback. They're not who we think they are.
Right. So what I'm saying is, when you look at them on paper, they could be in the Super Bowl.
Yes.
The funny thing is, you'd be more surprised that they were in the Super Bowl than they didn't make the playoffs at all.
Yeah.
That's the problem. That's the culture that I'm talking about when it comes to the Chargers. I don't know what they'll be. And that inconsistency and underachieving, actually, to be honest.
And I will say they are one of the teams in the NFL that get hit with that injury bug heavy.
Yeah.
Like they'll go through the season and their superstars will play half the season.
Mm-hmm.
Like Derwin James. But Derwin James
I was just about to say, go no further than Derwin James. Derwin James is the last safety I can remember to really affect outcomes of games since when we were growing up, we knew safeties had that ability. Derwin James is really the only one that really affected outcomes like that. So the fact that he kept getting hurt, I'm like, that's a travesty, you know? But I don't trust the Chargers. Actually, I have them coming out of the playoffs too. That's another team that I have coming out of the playoffs.
That's why I said it's only two teams we really want to talk about. That's exactly why I said it, because we know the story of the Chargers.
Right.
We know what's going to happen.
So,
it's going to look beautiful by week 3. Beautiful. Guess what? I'm in a fantasy football league. I'm in a keeper league. One of my keepers is Justin Herbert. I know what's going to happen. I just have to be ready for the end of the season, making a playoff run. Mm-hmm. Am I going to have to draft a better backup just in case? Or am I just going to run with him from going 30 fantasy points to 12 to 15?
Right. So you know what like Stephen A be talking about when he talks about the Cowboys? He says it's going to all go wrong at some point. I'm just not sure at what exact point it could be.
But we all know the Cowboys' problem too.
No, but what I'm saying is that's how I feel about the Chargers. It's going to come like they could make the playoffs, and I could be wrong about that. In the playoffs, at some point, they're going to come down, and it's all going to fall through. But you know what I mean. But when you look at them on paper, that's a Super Bowl roster, and you would be more shocked that they were in the AFC Championship game than they didn't even make the playoffs. That's
true.
So
now, do we want to go to the top team in the division, or do we want to go controversy?
Now let's go with the Chiefs. Now I want.
Okay. So you want to save all the controversy for last? I like that. Okay. So, here's the thing: how I feel about the Chiefs. Right? Pat Mahomes is just amazing. He's the greatest quarterback in the league. He's already showing that he's one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
He's showing he might be the greatest quarterback of all time.
And that's really what it's boiling down to. He's showing that he might be the greatest quarterback of all time. I just personally look at him like the guy I would never bet against, and I see him doing no wrong. I think the Kansas City Chiefs' flaw year in and year out will always be how good can their defense play when it counts. Because to be honest, it ain't a lot over there. For whatever reason, they just have a great formula because their offense is so dominant that it scares the other team to like, yo, you have to put points up. You have to do this. You have to do that. You can't settle for field goals. You can't let them get too far ahead early. You can't it's just their offense is so good that it puts the pressure on the other offense. So then that makes the defense play so much more relaxed.
They're the only team that
it makes their defense play so much more relaxed. And then like Christian Jones, when he starts going, he gets going. But outside of him, like there's no major threat on the Kansas City Chiefs defense. So it just depends on how good can they hold up when it counts. That will be their flaw. If their defense can't hold up when it counts, then that's why they'll lose the Super Bowl. That's why they won't make it to the Super Bowl. And unless they play their kryptonite in the AFC Championship, I really see it very hard for them to lose.
Are you saying like if I haven't asked, are you saying like Cincinnati is their kryptonite?
Yes.
Bro, yes. I don't think they're the kryptonite anymore. See, this is what I'm saying. So last year, you gotta understand, like
I mean, I only call them the kryptonite because they beat them 3 times in a row?
They beat them 4 times in a row.
4 times in a row. I mean, bro, we ain't seen Pat Mahomes get beat like that by nobody.
Right, but then he went in there.
But it's because that offense is just head over heels better than that deep. Like, that's the offense that can keep up with the Pat Mahomes shit. Mm-hmm. And that's why I call them the crypto. Yeah, like 3-4 times in a row. Like, we don't hear about that.
But then he had a high ankle sprain, and it still didn't even matter.
It doesn't that matter. That don't matter.
So last year, see, I think, and this is one thing I have not heard all off season. 2022, Patrick Mahomes had the greatest quarterback season of all time. You could take the year Peyton Manning had 50 touchdowns. Well, he did that twice. He did it in Indy once and in Denver once. You could take the 2007 Patriots year with Tom Brady. Listen, that is not supposed to happen. That is like when you really sit down and break down how teams are constructed, the fact that he got paid and he got paid so much. the fact that they were supposed to rebound, that is ridiculous, which obviously goes into my fatal flaw very easily, which is you can easily see what their flaws are. It just hasn't mattered. And that's and honestly, I like their roster, no matter how you spin it, is still going to be better than it was last year. I don't know what that means in terms of the totality of the year, but keep that in mind. I'm about to tell you some flaws that I'm telling you are probably less flawed than they were last year. That's why I'm saying last year was, I don't know what else, I don't know what to say to it. But yes, their fatal flaw is that there's so many holes in this roster, actually, if we're going to be honest. They have Chris Jones. They don't have a second pass rusher. They don't have star corners. I don't think their corners are terrible, but they don't have any stars at corner. They don't have anybody else to be a secondary, how you say, setter, like tone setter on that defense outside of Chris Jones. That's like Chris Jones actually, he's bridged the gap a little bit in my eyes from him and Aaron Donald a lot, because I thought that was like a bigger gap. But like when you look at this defense and see it's like completely overachieving, it's like, well, what do you do? Add that to, I think that last year's Kansas City wide receiver core was the worst wide receiver core to ever win a Super Bowl. That's really my opinion. Juju Smith-Schuster was the number one wide receiver.
I'm not mad at that though. I don't agree with what you're saying, but I'm not mad at that take. I'm not mad at Juju Smith being the number one receiver there either.
I'm very mad. I'm heated. Listen, I'm gonna be honest.
What's wrong?
There's an outside chance that Juju Smith-Schuster wouldn't even have he wouldn't have been in the NFL last year if it wasn't for Kansas City.
But I think that was because Pittsburgh really, it was like a shit show over there. And this is what they do to people.
The only team that offered him a contract, if I'm wrong, the only thing about this year, the only team that offered him a contract was the Patriots, and they can't do anything right when it comes to wide receiver or offensive coordinators or anything at this point. So, I mean, yes, I do have a big problem with that. The only reason, once again, I think their wide receiver core is bad. But continuity alone, there's all those guys except for Juju have come back. So the holes are there, the flaws are there. I don't know why it doesn't matter. That baffles me, and it's all because
you know what it is. It's almost like the New England Patriots way of things. It's almost like Pittsburgh's way they draft linebackers. All Kansas City is doing is they don't care about the name. They're getting the wide receiver that is going to fit what they need them to do. I just need you to get open and catch some footballs, because the person throwing it to you is going to get it to you.
Just get like this open, like this.
Just get a little open and have the speed to get separation afterwards. All we want you to do is move the chains. That's it. And then scare teams down the field. That's it. We're going to do everything else, because we're going to run the ball a little bit, and Pat Mahomes is going to be Pat Mahomes. He's going to throw the ball to Travis Kelce 100 times, 200 times probably. And I just need you guys to get open and make a play when I call your number. You don't have to be a superstar. You don't have to be a Pro Bowler. You don't have to be anything. You can be a nobody. Just catch this ball and run as fast as you can. And it works for them.
Also,
it's what Andy Reid has basically been doing his whole career. Because when he was in Philly, he didn't have a bunch of great receivers there neither.
So what I was going to say was, actually, I have a pretty controversial statement about Andy Reid that I've said before, but I don't think I've said it.
About him being a great, like what, him being the best?
Yeah, I think he's better than Belichick.
I mean, and honestly, there's no big gap or major thing wrong with that, honestly. It's obvious that you need players to make your coaching ability fly over the hump, where Bill had Tom. I'm talking just to win Super Bowls. Bill had Tom. Now, Andy has Pat Mahomes.
But
outside of that,
had Pat. See, my argument on that is, so in the era where the rules and whatever, like Bill Belichick was the most dominant, Andy Reid still was able to get to conference title games. He went to 5, actually. he still was able to do that with, once again, trash wide receivers.
But he had a way better quarterback. He had an arguable top 5, top 7 quarterback.
But he had top. So the argument that I'm making is when either one of them doesn't have arguably the best quarterback of all time. If you put Andy Reid in the era where Bill is successful, Andy Reid is still very successful, and he can still manage that. You put Bill in the era where Andy Reid is very successful, whether it be rules, all of that goes into play. There's clearly a gap. And if you do Spygate, which I'm not going to go into deep about that.
Outside of the rumors and the lies. And Bill Belichick has had teams with backup quarterbacks and second and third string quarterbacks that made it to the playoffs. That's not easy to do. Matt Castle went to the playoffs.
No, he didn't. He went 11-5, but he did not. They missed the playoffs.
They didn't make the playoffs that year?
They did not.
That's wild. Then come on, like, bro, 11-5. All right, they didn't make the playoffs, but the motherfucker, he went 11-5.
I understand that. I understand.
He's done that. Hey, Jimmy Garoppolo looked like MVP of the league when he was there. Matt Jones and them just went to the playoffs a couple years ago. They played Joe in the playoffs.
They ain't play us.
It was like a wild card game or something. Yes, they did.
We beat them in the regular season. I remember that because once again, Carson Wentz threw for like 47 yards passing, and Jonathan Taylor ran for forever. But like
that wasn't a wild card game. I swear that's crazy. That
and we missed the playoffs that year, so they didn't play us in the playoffs. It was when we had
Carson. Here with that, I'm talking about that. I swore y'all went to the.
I'm not 100% sure, and I'm not going to hold you to that. The only point I'm making is I really do think Andy Reid has shown to be a better coach.
I mean, yeah, but like I was saying before, it's not really that big of a gap or that far-fetched to say. I mean, Andy Reid has an amazing resume. He's showing it, like, you know what I mean. And I think him winning now, like the way he's winning now and winning Super Bowls and stuff, he's very deserving of all of that. Like,
right.
I'm definitely a firm believer in that.
Okay, all right, cool. We're gonna get to this controversy real quick. You know what I'm saying? So let me lead this one.
Yeah, go ahead. Let's hear what you got to say about my team before I tell you what I got to say.
So let me say this to start. I want to say it's a start. It's very hard for me to look at the Denver Broncos and say they're going to miss the playoffs again this year for the second straight year. Like, I feel like last year was more of an anomaly than what I expect even this year. So, especially because, okay, you bring in Russ. Okay, it might have been Nathaniel Hackett, but now you bring in, which one was the head coach that you speak
of?
Sean Payton. Now you bring in Sean Payton, and I'm like, yo, he's going to look at this. Like, we're talking about a coach. Like, he did it without Drew Brees, too. Like, he did it with Jameis Winston. He went to the playoffs with Jameis Winston. He did it with James Winston and what's the other guy? I can't think of anybody's name today.
Was he still the coach when Teddy won like 9 in a row?
Or
did he leave?
No, he was still there. Yeah,
still there when Teddy won like 9. Then Drew Brees came back and all that.
Yes, he did it with Teddy. He did it with Jameis Winston and the other guy. What's the guy? He does everything. He returns kicks. He's like the running back, the tight end. He's number 7. I cannot think of
dang, I can't think of it right now.
Either way. The point that I'm making is I think if there's one person that comes in with that kind of mind and stability to look at a situation and fix it, it's Sean Payton. My fatal flaw for the Broncos, though, is I don't love y'all's pass rush. I think this is like the worst pass rush I've seen from y'all in a very long time. I think the rest of your defense is actually very good, but I'm curious to see how far that pass rush holds you back. Like, I definitely feel like that's one of the worst pass rushers in the NFL. With that said, it might not matter because I think Sean Payton can fix a lot of these issues and put up a lot more points. You know what I mean? So last year, I think it was like I didn't expect that, but it's hard for me to look at everything, especially once again, 6 teams come in, 6 teams go out on average. Last year it was 7. So it's hard for me to look at the Broncos and say they're the team. But like a lot of people were picking them to be like have like a record of like 9-8 or something like that. And I'm like, I gotta see because I think they're looking at last year and now they're underrating how good the Broncos are.
Well, let's be honest. People aren't just watching the Broncos. People don't really know what's over there at the Broncos. The spotlight got on us when Russ got there, and people who don't really know football, who run their mouth a lot about football, want to talk about how sorry the Broncos are. People say we don't got the receiving core, we don't got this, we don't got that, we don't. It's just a bunch of nonsense they're talking because they don't know what they're talking about. And last year, I was on a very high horse when we got Russ because I felt like an elite style quarterback or, definitely an above average quarterback coming into all that young talent we had could put us over the hump and get us back in the running. And he came out there and he played terrible. If they said it was a stat that said if we would have just scored 18 points a game, we would have been like 11-5 or 12-5 or something like that. Like, and that was kind of the ballpark I had us going. Like, I had us in that realm like preseason, and people were looking at me like I was crazy. And then we played bad, and they were like, "See, I told y'all was sorry." And I'm like, none of y'all expected Russ to play this bad. So
Nobody expected that.
Nobody expected that. And then on top of Russ playing this bad, Sutton had injuries. Judy had injuries. We lost our star running back. Our other running back fumbled the ball every time he touched it, and we had to cut him. And we started playing better second half of the season. We went and got Latavius Murray. Russ started playing a little bit better, but it just couldn't come together right. And now, like you said, and a lot of that definitely had to do with Nate Hackett. And I call him penis head. You know what I mean? He just looks weird. He just looks like a penis head. It was very disturbing to watch. I'm sorry.
They still have to look at penis head every week.
It was very bothersome. And that's why I had no problem with what Sean Payton said about him. He wasn't lying. He was telling the truth. But now we're in soft era, so he had to retract all his statements because everybody got mad and caught attitudes and all this weird stuff. But now what I will say is, even, I'm giving this breakdown of the Broncos, but what I will say, number one, is I think the flaw would be Russ. Honestly, I think, I can halfway agree with you about our pass rush. This is one of the worst pass rushes we have seen in a long time. But we have been blessed with the Von Millers, and, we had a couple years with Bradley Chubb and, things like that. I do even you go a little bit further back in the day, and, we had, DeMarcus Ware. Go further back in the day, we had like Trevor Price and stuff like that. So we've always had like, a solid front seven. Right. I think Randy Gregory was playing okay. He wasn't like the pass rusher we paid him to be, but he was solidifying the end. I like the young guys we bringing in. I like Nick Benito. I like some of these other guys. But yeah, you're right. The pass rush isn't what we're used to, but the rest of that defense is lights out. Arguably one of the best top 3 to top 5 corners in the league. Arguably one of the best top 5 safeties in the league in Justin Simmons. Linebackers, I never was an Alex Singleton fan. He played very well, but we added the kid Drew Sanders from Arkansas, who, was in Alabama, who was amazing. And they're saying he's amazing in camp. He's ready to start right away. I think what we're doing with our defense, we just need to get the offense clicking. If we get the offense clicking, I think we can compete in that division. Not win the division, but I think we can compete in that division. But the flaw is just, is this really Russ declining, or is this Russ had a bad year and he's going to shake it off?
So out of those two things that you just said, which one do you feel as though you lean towards in terms of what you're expecting? Do you feel as though, like, all right, he's probably going to have another like bad year?
Well, to be honest,
anomaly.
I am scared that this might be the new Russ, but I am leaning towards it being a rough season with a terrible head coach, with a confusing organization. Now everything getting put back in place with a veteran coach that knows what it takes, and him turning it around this year. I see him turning it around this year. And also, what people don't understand either about us last year is we were one of the other teams who got hit with the injury bug very, very heavy. We actually were probably the most injured team in the NFL last year. But let people tell it, we don't have weapons. I talked to one of my coworkers, and he was like, Russ don't got no weapons to throw to over there.
That's what he said?
And I said, you're saying that being an Eagles fan, and because you're excited that y'all got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. But honestly, we have two weapons that aren't far from A.J. Brown and Devontae
Absolutely.
Smith. And honestly, healthy, those guys could possibly be better than those two. Like Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton are the real deal. Like, let's be honest. Tim Patrick got hurt again, so that's really going to be scary. We're talking about bringing KJ Hamler back, but he has like heart issues or something like that. But I think with Cortland Sutton, with Jerry Jeudy, with Greg DeLuce, and with Javonte Williams coming back, I think that is a great nucleus for Russ to do what he has to do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I don't know why your boy said that. I don't know.
But honestly, that it was just one of those things where I know you don't watch the NFL the way I watch the NFL. So you're on a high horse. Like, because I've had plenty of people, like, especially like we do a lot of debates and arguing at my job and stuff like that. And people think I'm just ride or die because I'm a Broncos fan. I'm like, no, y'all don't watch the Broncos every week like I do. So yes, I'm a fan of football, but I am a fan of my team. But I can break any of y'all teams down this way. Like, y'all just don't watch the Broncos, so y'all don't know what to look for. Y'all looking at stats. Y'all don't know these guys. Y'all don't watch college football, obviously. Y'all don't know who these people are. We're in a very good position. That's why last year was such a shocker to me, where it wasn't a shocker to the average fans I was running around having these arguments and stuff with, because y'all don't know any better.
No, I was for it. I was like, what is it? I can't believe this is happening.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was heartbreaking to actually go and see us struggle against the Houston Texans at home. It almost like deflated my birthday. That was my birthday.
You almost cried, didn't you?
And I almost cried. Like, I was there mad. Like, something has to change. If we don't score a touchdown soon, we might make the news today.
Don't cry, bro.
Like, just give me another. Let me get another $20 beer to just like drown my sorrows, because this is getting out of hand.
That's funny. That's hilarious. All right, cool. Let's get to let's get the Fisher winner. Fisher winner.
So
be up with that.
You want me to just start with the NFC North and just give you both, or we gonna go one at a time?
You already did the NFC North. We both picked Detroit.
Oh, all right, yeah, you're right. I didn't know, because it wasn't like, all right, but yeah, Detroit. That's what I'm picking there. So for the AFC West, yeah, I got Kansas City winning the division.
I got Kansas City, but as I said, I do have I have the Broncos back in the playoffs.
Oh, all right. I'm about to say, because if there's the only way Kansas City does not win the division is if the Broncos come to play. If the Broncos play well under the Sean Payton era and with Russ being what they should be, if they play that well, then we can compete with Kansas City. Shoot, Russ showed that he could compete with Kansas City last year until he got hurt.
Right.
Like, we were on the verge of winning that game, and we were kind of like getting to, like, we were flustering Pat Mahomes a little bit. Justin Simmons came back from injury. Like, the guy came back the last 6 games and had like 5 picks in 6 games. Like, Pastor Chan, I think, had 1 or 2 picks in that game against Pat Mahomes. Like, we showed a lot of promise at the end of that season, and Russ started playing better, but it was just, we were so far gone, it didn't matter. And now I think we're going to be able to help. We're going to be able to stop the run a little bit better and stuff. So I think by a long shot, like, that would be like some dark horse pick type stuff where I would say we'd win the division, and not just a homer pick. Like, I thoroughly believe we're the second best team in that division, no matter what. It's just what Russ going to do.
Like I said, in any other division, I would agree with you, but I still can't figure out why Kansas City is.
Yeah, Kansas City. I'm never gonna pick against them until we're so. We have not beat Kansas City in like 7 years. Like however long Pat Mahomes, we have never beat Pat Mahomes.
We've never beat Pat Mahomes.
We've never beat Pat Mahomes.
Okay. Well, I mean, Patrick Mahomes has never. Hold on. Patrick Mahomes has never not been in the AFC Championship game since he's been a starter. So
yeah,
a lot of people have it. Don't feel bad about that.
But the thing is, we play them 2 times a year. We've never beat him since he's been the starter. We have never beat him.
In your division beating him? No, the Raiders definitely did. I remember that.
I'm pretty sure he's lost other games in the division.
I know the Raiders did once.
We're the team who has not beaten him at all ever.
I did not know that. Look at you dropping new stats. You know what I'm saying?
It's a stat that gets thrown in my face, so I wouldn't be doing the people any justice if I just held that information in. Like I
dealing with some people, man. Because you cry.
But this is what happens. This is what happens when you live in the football world. Like it goes down. Like we're arguing all year round. I know fans, like I know Kansas City Chiefs fans. Like I only know a couple, but I know one. And he's probably the Kansas City Chiefs fan I know is probably one of the most annoying fans ever now that they're on top.
Okay, I see you. All right, cool. I think we about to wrap this thing up, JB, man. You already know. Listen.
Yes.
Home here on this show, bro.
This is home, man. You know, shout out to all the other dudes who've been on here too, man. I'm definitely paying attention. I'm definitely watching. I was playing catch up today at work, trying to catch up on all the episodes. So I'm a couple episodes behind. But you know, shout out to everybody, the whole family. You know what I mean? Like this is what we do, bro. You bringing us together.
Listen, man. No, listen. This platform has grown only because you guys have been on here. That's the honest truth. Like without you guys, it's not possible for this to grow like it's grown. So
one hand wash the other.
There it is. So once again, JB, man, you know I love you to death, but I gotta tell you once again,
go for it.
You don't know football. Get out of here.
Yes, sir.
Thank you always, brother, for being here.
You already know.
All right.